The night has already settled by the time you arrive. Not suddenly, not all at once. It's been happening quietly while the day loosened its grip. The town feels smaller tonight, not because it changed, but because everything unnecessary has stepped back. Snow drifts down in thin, patient flakes. They don't hurry. They don't pile up fast enough to demand attention. They simply fall and keep falling, softening the edges of things you don't need to think about anymore. The street is mostly empty. A few parked cars rest under a light dusting of white. Their windows glow faintly, reflecting lampposts that hum low and steady. Somewhere nearby, a door closes, not loudly, just enough to let you know someone else has also decided to be done for the night. You don't need to rush. There's nowhere you're expected to be right now. No one waiting for an update. No reason to check the time. If nights like this help you sleep, you can subscribe. I post new stories here every week. Your steps are slow and unremarkable. Each one lands with a quiet certainty, as if the ground has been expecting you. The houses along the street feel settled. Porch lights stay on, not for guests, but out of habit. Wreaths hang on doors, simple and understated. Their green darkened by the cold. You notice how little movement there is. No traffic, no conversations carrying through the air. Just the soft hiss of snow brushing past coats and railings. The sky holds a deep, even darkness. Clouds sit low, keeping the night close to the ground. There are no sharp stars tonight. And that feels right. You pause for a moment without meaning to. Not because something caught your eye. Just because stopping feels natural here. Your breath leaves you in pale clouds. Slow in, slower out. The town seems to recognize that rhythm. Nothing interrupts it. Nothing asks you to pick up the pace. There's a quiet comfort in knowing that this night doesn't require anything from you. You don't have to make sense of the year. You don't have to decide what comes next. It's Christmas Eve, but only in the background. A distant radio plays somewhere behind closed walls. A few notes of music drift out and then disappear again, as if the town itself doesn't want to linger on them. You continue on, letting the snow gather where it will, on your shoulders, on the brim of your coat, on the edges of the sidewalk that guides you forward without insisting. For now, it's enough to be here, to be inside this quiet, to let the night open slowly, one unhurried moment at a time. The quiet doesn't end. It simply stretches a little farther. You let the pause pass, then continue on. Not because you decided to, just because your feet know what to do next. The street opens up ahead, wider now, with more space between the houses. Snow gathers along the edges, tracing the path without asking you to follow it. This part of town feels familiar in a way you can't quite place. Not remembered, just recognized. A stop sign stands at the corner, its red muted by the falling snow. It doesn't demand attention tonight. It just marks where one street gives way to another. You turn slowly, letting the night guide you. The sidewalks are mostly clear, as if someone passed through earlier and decided that was enough effort for one day. Footprints lead off in different directions, already softening, already losing their shape. The town seems content to let things fade on their own. A row of houses lines the block, each one settled into itself. Lights glow behind curtains. Some windows are dark, already finished with the day. You notice how nothing feels urgent here. No signals pulling you forward. No sounds pressing in from behind. Just the steady hush of snow meeting ground. Your shoulders drop a little without being told. Your hands loosen inside your pockets. Your breathing finds a slower rhythm, one it doesn't feel the need to explain. A small grocery store sits on the corner, closed now. Its sign is dark, but the outline is still visible, familiar against the night. A couple of paper notices flutter softly in the window, moving just enough to show they're still there. You pass by without stopping. Further along, a narrow side street branches off. It's quieter somehow, even within the quiet. Fewer lights, more shadow. You take it. Snow falls more thickly here, catching in the glow of a single street lamp halfway down the block. Each flake drifts through the light, slow and unbothered, as if it has. You slow with it. There's a calm in choosing not to hurry, in letting the distance between one step and the next stretch just a little longer. A porch light clicks on somewhere behind you, then settles into a steady glow. Someone else is arriving home. Someone else is done for the night. You don't need to know who. The town holds that moment quietly, then lets it go. You reach the end of the street and pause again, just for a second. Ahead, the road curves gently, leading toward the center of town. Not busier, just a little more awake. The snow keeps falling. The lights stay low, and the night continues to open slowly as you move deeper into it. As you move on, your body begins to notice what the night has already been offering. Your steps find a rhythm without effort. Heel, toe, a quiet pause between them. The ground feels steady beneath you, solid and reliable. It holds each step without comment, without asking you to explain why you're here. Your shoulders ease down, settling closer to where they belong. Not all at once, just enough to feel the difference. Cold air touches your face, clean and sharp, then softens as you breathe out, in through your nose, out through your mouth. You don't need to count. The rhythm takes care of itself. Your hands stay warm inside your coat pockets, fingers resting loosely now. There's no need to grip anything. Nothing is slipping away. The sound of your breathing blends with the night, quiet, even, unremarkable in the best way. Each breath feels a little slower than the last, not because you made it so, because the space around you allows it. Your jaw unclenches without being asked. The muscles around your eyes soften. Your brow smooths out as if it has remembered there's no problem to solve right now. Snow continues to fall, brushing past your coat, landing where it will. It doesn't interrupt your breathing. It seems to move with it. There's a sense of weight settling downward through your body, from your neck, through your chest, down into your legs and feet. Not heavy, just grounded. The steady pace of walking becomes something you hardly notice anymore. Your body knows how to do this. It always has. You breathe in again, cool and clear. You breathe out, slower still, letting the air leave on its own time. Nothing pulls at your attention. Nothing presses against your thoughts. There is only the quiet work of the body doing what it was meant to do. Carry you forward, keep you warm. Breathe. By the time you reach the next stretch of road, your movements feel smaller, softer, as if the night has gently turned down the volume on everything else. Your body settles into that lower setting without resistance. And for the first time in a while, it feels natural to stay there. The road carries you forward without asking for more effort. Your body stays settled, breathing steady as the town begins to show itself again. Not all at once, one quiet detail at a time. The houses appear first, spaced a little farther apart now. Each one sits back from the street, patient and still, as if they've learned how to wait. Snow rests along rooftops and window ledges, softening straight lines into gentler shapes. Nothing looks sharp tonight. Nothing asks to be fixed. Porch lights glow low and warm, not bright enough to wake anyone, just enough to say someone belongs here, just enough to keep the dark from feeling empty. Some homes are completely dark, curtains drawn, the day already put away. Others hold a single light in a back room or kitchen, faint and steady, like a quiet promise being kept. You notice how the lights don't compete with one another. They exist on their own terms, each one content to be exactly where it is. The distance between houses gives the night room to breathe. Snow fills that space easily, drifting through it without resistance. You pass by slowly, keeping to the edge of the sidewalk. There's no need to look closely inside. What's happening there feels private, complete without you. A wreath hangs on one door, simple and unadorned, green, darkened by cold, a ribbon barely moving in the still air. It doesn't announce the holiday, it simply acknowledges it. The street remains quiet, broken only by the soft crunch beneath your steps. Even that sound fades quickly, absorbed by the snow before it can travel far. You feel the comfortable distance between yourself and the houses, close enough to feel their warmth, far enough to remain untouched. Nothing here pulls you inward. Nothing pushes you away. The lights stay where they are. The houses keep their silence. And you continue on, held gently in the space between them. The sounds of the town arrive gently, almost as an afterthought. They don't announce themselves. They simply exist, low and unobtrusive, as if they've learned how to stay out of the way. Snow makes the softest sound as it lands, more a suggestion than a noise, a faint brushing, barely there. Somewhere in the distance, a car passes through another street. Its tires whisper over packed snow, then fade before you can decide where it went. The sound doesn't linger, neither do you. A house settles with a quiet creak, wood adjusting to the cold. It's the kind of sound that belongs to the night, familiar and unremarkable. You hear it, then let it go. Your own movements grow quieter, as if your body has learned how to match the stillness around you. Even the crunch beneath your feet softens, absorbed almost immediately. There's a sense that the town is listening, not for anything specific, just enough to know it's still here. A distant hum drifts through the air. Maybe a heater, maybe a generator somewhere farther away. It doesn't matter. The sound blends into the background, becoming part of the night's steady presence. You notice how silence here isn't empty. It's layered, built from small sounds resting comfortably beside one another. Nothing rises above the rest. Nothing demands to be heard. Your breathing joins that quiet pattern. In, out. The space between each breath feels wider now, unhurried, unfilled. Time stretches in a way that feels kind. Minutes loosen their grip, slipping past without marking themselves. You don't feel watched. You don't feel alone. The stillness holds you in a neutral place where nothing is expected and nothing is missing. Snow continues to fall, soundless and steady. Lights remain low behind curtains. The town rests in its own rhythm, and you move through it quietly, surrounded by a calm that doesn't need words to explain itself. The stillness follows you a little farther, then begins to change, not abruptly, just enough for you to notice the difference. Ahead, the street narrows and curves toward a small cluster of buildings. The snow thins where footsteps have passed more often. The lights grow closer together, warmer in tone. You can sense it before you see it. A place still open, a pocket of warmth waiting quietly inside the night. The café sits near the corner, modest and unassuming. Its windows glow softly, fogged just enough to blur whatever's happening within. A simple sign hangs above the door, lit from below. Not bright, just visible enough to guide you in. You pause outside for a moment. Snow gathers on your shoulders. Your breath rises and fades. Then you reach for the handle. The door opens with a gentle sound, a soft chime, muted by the cold air slipping inside with you. Warmth meets you immediately, not sudden, not overwhelming, just present. The air smells faintly of coffee and cocoa, something sweet lingering beneath it, a familiar comfort that doesn't ask for attention. Your boots leave quiet marks on the floor as you step in. The sound is small, respectful of the space. There are only a few tables, most of them empty, chairs pushed in, mug resting where someone left them earlier. A low lamp glows near the counter, casting a circle of light that feels contained, intentional. The rest of the room stays dim, content to remain in shadow. You move farther inside, letting the door close behind you. The night stays outside now, softened by glass and distance. Somewhere behind the counter, a machine hums quietly, steady and reliable. It doesn't rush. It doesn't interrupt. You take in the room without needing to decide anything yet. There's time. There's warmth. And for now, it's enough to simply be here, letting the quiet settle in a different way. You choose a table without thinking much about it. Not the closest, not the farthest, just one that feels settled. The chair slides out quietly as you sit. The sound is small, quickly absorbed by the room. A mug appears in front of you, steam rising in slow, patient curls. Cocoa, maybe, or coffee made gentle by milk and time. your hands around the warmth, not to hold on, just to notice it. The heat moves into your palms, steady and reassuring. It doesn't rush to do anything. It simply stays. You take a slow sip. The flavor is familiar, uncomplicated. Something you've had before, somewhere else, long ago. The café remains quiet around you. No conversations spill over. No music asks for your attention. There's a soft clink as a spoon is set down behind the counter. Then stillness again. You let your shoulders rest against the chair back. Your breathing stays slow, matching the gentle rhythm you found outside. Time feels different in here. Not shorter, not longer, just less insistent. The window beside your table is fogged from the warmth inside. Beyond it, the snow continues to fall, distant now, muted by glass. Lights from the street blur into soft shapes, moving slightly as flakes pass through them. Nothing sharp enough to hold on to. Nothing that needs to be named. You sit without checking anything, without planning the next step, without replaying what came before. The mug warms your hands a little longer, then cools at its own pace. You don't hurry it. There's no reason to. In this small space, it feels natural to let moments pass uncounted, to stay where you are, just as you are, without adjusting. The café holds that stillness easily. It doesn't expect you to move on. It doesn't ask you to stay. And for now, you do neither. Content to sit quietly, letting the night pause with you for a while. The warmth stays with you a little longer than expected, not just in your hands, but somewhere quieter, deeper, as if the stillness of the café has made room for something else to surface. You don't go looking for it. It arrives on its own, gently, the way memories sometimes do when nothing is in the way. The room remains the same. The mug rests where it is, but a familiar feeling drifts in, soft, around the edges. It isn't tied to a specific place or a specific time. Just the sense of having been here before. Not this café, not this night, but a moment like it. A memory of warmth that didn't need to be explained. You remember sitting somewhere quiet once, long ago, with a similar cup warming your hands. The details are indistinct. The table could have been wood or laminate. The window might have looked out onto snow or rain or nothing at all. What stays with you is the feeling, the way the air felt calmer inside than out, the way time seemed to slow, not for a reason, but because it could. You don't recall who was nearby. There may have been someone. There may not have been. That part doesn't matter. What matters is the ease of that moment. The simple permission to sit without needing to speak or decide. The memory doesn't ask anything from you now. It doesn't pull you backward. It just rests lightly alongside the present, content to be noticed and then left alone. You take another slow breath. The café hums quietly around you, steady and unchanged. The warmth in your hands feels familiar again, not because you remember where it came from, but because your body does. The memory fades the way it arrived, unannounced, unhurried. It leaves behind a soft reassurance, subtle but real, a reminder that moments like this have existed before, and that they don't need to last to be enough. You remain where you are, grounded in the present, the past settling gently back into its place as the night continues on, calm and open. The quiet doesn't push the memory away this time. It makes space for it to settle a little closer. There's someone you think of now, not sharply, not all at once, just the sense of a presence that once felt familiar beside you. You don't see a face. you don't hear a voice. What comes to you is the feeling of being understood without explanation, a memory of sitting near someone while nothing important needed to be said, of sharing the same quiet, the same pause between moments. It might have been a winter night, or maybe it wasn't. The season doesn't matter as much as the stillness you shared. You remember how comfortable it felt not to fill the silence, how rare that seemed at the time, even if you didn't know it then. There's a softness to the memory now. The edges have worn smooth with time. What once felt close no longer presses in. You notice that the memory doesn't hurt. It doesn't tighten your chest. It doesn't ask you to wish for anything different. It simply exists, calm and distant like a light seen through falling snow. You let yourself stay with it for a moment, not to hold on, just to acknowledge that it was real. There was a time when you didn't feel alone in the quiet. And even though that moment has passed, the feeling itself doesn't disappear. It settles somewhere gentle inside you. A reminder that connection once existed, and that its absence doesn't erase what it gave you. You take another slow breath, feeling the chair beneath you, the warmth of the café around you. The memory begins to loosen its hold, not abruptly, just enough to let you return fully to where you are now. What remains isn't longing. It's a quiet acceptance, a sense that some things can be remembered without being reopened, that some closeness can be honored without needing to be relived. The café stays still. The night waits patiently outside the window, and you sit there, balanced gently between then and now, with nothing pulling you in either direction, only the steady calm of the present moment, holding you safely where you are. The memory doesn't disappear all at once. It softens, then settles, like snow easing onto the ground. You remain where you are, hands still wrapped around the mug, warmth steady and real. The chair beneath you feels solid again. The table, the floor, the café has not changed while you were away for a moment. Its quiet stayed exactly where you left it. You notice the faint hum behind the counter again, the low light resting on the wall, the soft glow reflected in the window. Outside, the town continues on without interruption. Snow falls at the same gentle pace. Lights remain low and patient. You look through the glass now, seeing the street as it is, not as a memory, not as a thought, just as it exists in this moment. The outlines of buildings are softened by distance and weather. A sidewalk curves away, leading back into the quiet you came from. No rush to return there yet. The mug has cooled slightly. You notice it without concern. Things are allowed to change here. You shift in your seat, small and unremarkable. Your body adjusts easily, settling again into comfort. A chair is stacked upside down near the counter. Another light clicks off somewhere deeper in the cafe. The night is moving forward, slowly, the way it does when no one is watching the clock. The sense of remembering drifts farther back now, still present, but no longer central, like a thought that has finished speaking. You feel anchored again in your body, in the room, in the simple act of sitting and breathing. The cafe holds you quietly as it begins to wind down. Nothing abrupt, nothing final, just a gentle return to now, where the snow continues to fall, the lights stay warm, and the night carries on at its own unhurried pace, with you resting easily inside it. The cafe grows quieter in a way that feels intentional, not empty, just ready. Another light dims near the back, leaving the room held by a softer glow. Shadows stretch comfortably along the walls, settling where they belong. You remain seated, not because you need to, but because there's no reason to move yet. The night hasn't asked you to go. Outside the window, snow continues to fall. It moves through the street lights slowly now, as if it's learning how to rest. The mug sits untouched in front of you. Its warmth has faded, but not completely. There's still comfort there, just quieter. The café hums once more, then falls still. A chair is nudged gently into place. A counter wiped down without hurry. Nothing here feels rushed toward an ending. The night knows how to close itself. You take a slow breath, then another. Your body feels heavier now, in a good way, supported, at ease. The lights dim again, just a little, enough to signal that the evening is winding down. The room doesn't feel smaller as it darkens. If anything, it feels more contained, safer. Snow gathers outside along the edges of the street, blurring lines and softening corners. The town is nearly still now, tucked into itself. You don't think about where you'll go next. That part can wait. For now, there's only this quiet moment. The table, the chair, the gentle darkness settling in layers. The last light near the window lowers, then steadies. A soft glow remains, just enough to hold the space. Your breathing slows without effort. In, out. The cafe stays silent, lights low, doors closed against the cold. And as the night finishes what it began, you stay exactly where you are, warm, unhurried, and ready to let the quiet take over.